So following on from my other sight reading videos, I have devised my Polished Pianist Sight Reading Success Guide. And at the end of this video, as a thank you to people for subscribing to my channel, I'm going to drop this as a free gift. I'm going to talk through it a little bit though today. So when you first approach your piece of sight reading, before you begin, there are some things that we have to look at, and we have to assimilate this information very, very quickly. So the clef, the key and the time signature, very important. We need to know what time we're playing in. We need to know, we can't always assume that the right hand is in the treble clef. We need to think about that, have a look for any changes of clef. This will apply at different levels. The easier levels, at the more beginner levels, everything will be where you sort of expect it to be. As we rise up into reading more difficult music, then you need to be looking for sudden changes of pitch, sudden changes even sometimes of tempo, and sudden changes of hand position. And you can't assume that the right hand always plays the treble clef and the left hand always plays the bass clef. There are a lot of clues in the title, quite often, although if it's entitled Andante, you just know you're going to play it at a walking pace. It doesn't really tell you a lot, but it does tell you that you don't have to race ahead and play this piece very quickly, so you can set yourself a nice steady pulse. Identify your starting position, really important. What are your starting notes? What's your hand position going to be? If there aren't a lot of clues in the fingers in the piece, you can look ahead and see how high you're going, how low are you going. So this is going to give you a good idea of which fingers you need to start on. Scan for leaps and jumps. So hopefully you'll have some notes which have a lot of stepwise movement. But within that, you need to be ready for leaps and jumps, and you need to be prepared to move in time, not looking for the note. So our note reading skills do need to be strong. So does our keyboard geography, because we don't have time to look down all the time. We can maybe do a quick glance if it's a huge jump, but we need to know what everything feels like under the fingers. So notice the direction of travel. Are we ascending? Are we descending? Are we moving around a note in a little pattern? Try and take in as many details as you can before you start. Prepare the rhythm first. In sight reading, the rhythm is probably more important than the notes. You can try this, and I do this a lot with my students, by playing the piece 3 ways. So I illustrate by playing it quite badly with lots of stopping and starting, but trying to get the correct notes, or pretending I'm trying to get the correct notes. The next time I play it, I will play the correct version, and then the next time I'll play the version with lots of deliberate mistakes, but with the correct rhythm. And then I'll ask the student which is preferable, number 1 or number 3, which is closest to the correct version. And of course it's always number 3, because even with loads of wrong notes, if we play the rhythm correctly, we are going to sound like we have a piece of music. If we keep stopping and starting and hesitating, it doesn't sound like music, because we have no rhythm, we have no pulse, and without that, it isn't music. So preparing the rhythm's really important. Establish a steady pulse, a pulse that you think you can manage as well. Tap and clap the rhythm with your hands together to internalize it. So as I showed yesterday in my video, tapping your hands separately, 1, you probably don't have time, and 2, you have to really feel what it feels like when you put the hands together. So the coordination of that. Obviously, if it's a really long piece, you won't have time to do all of that. So you need to go and check all the different sections where you could see changes. Again, this business of skim reading, looking ahead, taking in as much information as you can straight away is very, very important. It's an important skill to develop. Understand where the main beats fall. Are you coming in on an upbeat? Are you in simple time? Are you in compound time? So know where your main beats are. Know the type of time, not just the time signature. And be comfortable in duple, triple and quadruple meter. So get used to practice those different rhythms, practice clapping, tapping, as many different rhythms as you can away from a piece of sight reading, just as a daily exercise. This will really, really help you when you do come across these rhythms in sight reading. Whilst you're playing, you need to keep looking ahead. Don't stop. Don't correct mistakes. Don't hesitate. Be prepared to sometimes miss a note out in one hand. You might have to sacrifice notes sometimes to keep the rhythm and pulse going. And this is a skill that accompanists have, and they know how to do that. Singing teachers are fantastic at this. I have a lot of singing teacher colleagues who do their own accompanying, and they are absolutely brilliant. I just letting go of notes to make the accompaniment flow and to keep up with the singer, because we have to be able to do that. It's one of the reasons why we practice sight reading, one of the many, so that we can accompany people as well. So don't keep looking down at your hands either. You don't have time. A quick glance, but if you're moving your whole head up and down all the time, you will not have a clue where you are in the music when you look up. So trust your hands as well. If you have good keyboard geography, they will 9 times out of 10 go to the correct place. Keep going no matter what happens. No matter what happens, just keep going. You will get a sense of, you'll produce something that has a sense of flow if you keep going. Just be brave, dive in and just keep moving forwards. Building the foundations of great sight reading. There's a lot of stuff behind this, and knowing your keys on a very deep level is really important. And I'm going to be going into how to develop a sense of key, talking about scales, learning scales, really internalizing scales so they become part of our being, and that we feel that sense of key. So I'm going to be talking about that in other videos. But know your keys on a really deep level. Know your keyboard geography. I've mentioned that earlier very thoroughly. Learn to feel the shape and the layout of the keyboard as you play. So what I mentioned earlier, you don't have time to keep looking down at your hands. All this comes from playing lots and lots of different music. And I know I talk a lot about how we shouldn't get stuck on 3 or 4 exam pieces a year. And this is a major reason why we shouldn't, because we don't have chance to then develop these really important skills, which will then help us learn new music more quickly as well. Practice notation reading. If you know your notation reading is weaker, practice that. You can use flashcards, you can use apps, you can just pick up easy music and read it, practice it away from the piano. Give yourself 2 notes a day that you're not sure of, and or even 1, and just think about them, visualize them all day. That will stay with you. We've talked about practicing clapping, tapping and singing many different rhythms, as many as you can, and there are lots of rhythm workbooks for that as well. But again, you can just pick up any sheet music and practice tapping, clapping or singing the rhythm. Explore a wide variety of time signatures. Don't just stick to time signatures you feel comfortable in. So a lot of people playing more advanced music feel a little bit daunted by anything 20th century and following on from that with anything that has irregular time signatures. we need to get used to it. We need to get comfortable with it. If we're daunted by it, that's all the more reason to practice it. And I used to be very guilty at avoiding things that I wasn't comfortable with. So we just have to, again, dive in, have a go. We can only get better as long as we're practicing it effectively. Read music every day, even if it's just for a few minutes. Just make sure you're reading lots of different music. You know, when we're children and we learn how to read, whichever way we learn how to read, if all we did was read those sort of first Ladybird books and things like that, and we didn't progress, and we didn't go on to read novels and read publications and newspapers and all the things that we read every single day, we wouldn't be fluent, would we? And therefore we'd still be at that really kind of beginner level of being able to read and having to spell out our words. And this is exactly the same kind of skill. We are asking ourselves to do something even harder, because we've got to be fluent in the language of music, and we've got to mix that with the coordination skills needed to play, and then the musical skills to polish everything. So we are asking a lot of ourselves, so we need to do as much of this as we can. You just have to trust your preparation. Once you've been really thorough, just be brave, trust that you've prepared enough, keep the pulse going, and just keep going. Sight reading does improve through consistent practice, and if you follow these principles regularly, you will become a more confident, fluent, and more musical sight reader.